was 21:47. It was a normal Tuesday morning when the sky turned dark over New York City. People stopped on the streets and looked up. They saw something that no human had ever seen before. A massive ship, bigger than any building on Earth, came down through the clouds. It moved slowly, blotting out the sun, casting a shadow over the whole city. While Harper was drinking his coffee in the United Earth Defense Command building when the alarm started screaming, he put down his cup and ran to the main control room. Dozens of screens showed the same thing. A giant alien ship was hovering over the Atlantic Ocean. It was not a movie. It was not a drill. It was real. "Get me every world leader on the line," said his team, "right now." The ship was massive. Scientists said it was about 3 miles long and 1 mile wide. It was made of dark metal that seemed to eat the light around it. Nothing on Earth could compare to it. The most advanced human spacecraft looked like toys next to this alien missile. For 6 hours the ship just flowed there. It did not attack. It did not move. It just waited. People around the world watched on their televisions and phones. Some prayed. Some cried. Some ran to the stores to buy food and water. Everyone was scared. And the message came. The screen on Earth went black for a moment. Then a face appeared. It was not a human face. The creature had pale skin, no hair, and 6 arms. Its eyes were large and complete black. When it spoke, the words came out in every language at the same time. "Of Earth, I am High Commander of the Empire. Your plan has been chosen for integration into our empire. You will surrender your governments, your military forces, and your natural resources to us within 7 of your planetary days. If you do not comply, we will take what we want by force. Resistance is not recommended. We have conquered 37 worlds. None have successfully opposed us. You have 7 days." The screen went black again. Stood in the control room with his mouth open. Around him, people were crying and shouting. Some were trying to call their families. The world was falling apart in front of his eyes. He was a soldier. He had fought in 3 wars. He had seen death and destruction. He had lost friends and made hard choices. He was not going to give up now. "When quiet," he said in a loud voice. The room went silent. "We have work to do. Contact every military base on the planet. I want a full report of our capabilities in 2 hours. We are not going to surrender to anyone." Geneva, world leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. The United Nations building was surrounded by soldiers and tanks. Inside, presidents, prime ministers, and generals argued about what to do. "Cannot fight them," said one president. "Did you see the size of that ship? They could destroy us in minutes." "But if we surrender, what happens to our people?" asked another leader. "They said they have conquered 37 worlds. What happened to those people? Are they slaves? Are they dead?" Lisa Monroe stood up. She was the commander of Earth's orbital defense grid, a system of satellites armed with nuclear missiles that surrounded the planet. She was 60 years old with hair and sharp eyes. She had spent her whole career preparing for a threat like this. "We have been planning for the moment for over 100 years, she said. "Since the first radio signals were sent into space, we knew that one day someone might answer. We built weapons. We made plans. We are not helpless." "But are we strong enough?" someone asked. Lisa looked around the room. "I do not know if we are strong enough, but I know that humanity has never given up without a fight. We survived ice ages. We survived plagues. We survived 2 world wars and came close to destroying ourselves with nuclear weapons. But we are still here. We adapt. We learn. We fight." Admiral Harper arrived at the meeting that evening. He brought with him a detailed report of Earth's military strength. It was not impressive compared to what they had seen of the alien technology, but it was something. 3,000 nuclear warheads that can be launched from land, sea, and space, explained. "We have an orbital defense grid with 200 armed satellites. We have ground forces of about 50 million soldiers worldwide, and we have something else." "What?" asked the Secretary General. "Have the world survived?" said. "These aliens have conquered species that gave up, species that surrendered when they saw a big ship in the sky, but they have never faced humans. They do not know what we are capable of." The room was quiet. Everyone was thinking about their families, their countries, their future. The decision they made in the next few hours would decide the fate of the entire human race. "So we fight," said General Leah Monroe. "Agree," said Harper. By one, the other leaders nodded. Some did it with tears in their eyes, some did it with angry faces, but they all agreed Earth would not surrender. Next morning, Harper recorded a message for the entire planet. He stood in front of a camera with the flags of all nations behind him. "People of Earth," he began, "you have all heard the alien message. They want us to surrender. They want us to give up everything we have built over thousands of years. They want us to become their slaves." Paused and looked directly into the camera. "I'm not going to do that. The governments of Earth have agreed to stand together. We will not surrender. We will not bow down to anyone. These aliens think they can scare us with their big ship and their threats, but they do not know us. They do not know that humans have been fighting for survival since the first day we walked on the planet. Aliens watching the message, I have only one thing to say. You have made a terrible mistake. You should have stayed away from Earth, because now you will see what happens when you threaten the human race. We are not 37 other worlds. We are humanity, and we do not give up." The message was sent to every television, every phone, every computer on the planet, and it was also sent directly to the alien ship. The control room turned to Lisa. "Do you think they will attack?" Lisa nodded slowly. "Yes, they will attack. They cannot let a small planet like ours say no to them. It would make them look weak." "We better get ready," he said, "because the fight of our lives is about to begin." The world people started preparing. Soldiers reported to their bases. Scientists worked day and night on new weapons. Ordinary people dug shelters and stockpiled food. Children were sent to underground bunkers. The whole planet was getting ready for war. In space, the alien ship started to move. It was sending a signal to its homeworld. More ships were coming. Invasion of Earth was about to begin. Days had passed since the alien ship appeared over Earth. The world was in chaos. Some countries had started fighting each other over resources. Riots broke out in major cities, but most people came together. They helped their neighbors. They shared food and water. They showed the best of humanity in the worst of times. Admiral Harper had not slept in 2 days. He was working on a plan, a crazy plan that might give humanity a chance. He called it Operation Warning. "You need to send someone to talk to them," explained to the other generals. "Not to surrender, not to beg, but to warn them." General Lisa Monroe frowned. "Warn them about what?" Russ said, "About what they're getting into. These aliens have conquered 37 worlds. That means 37 species gave up when they saw the coming. But those species did not have our history. They did not spend thousands of years fighting each other like we did." "You want to scare them?" Lisa asked. "I want to show them who we really are. I want them to understand that attacking Earth will cost them more than any other planet they have ever conquered. Maybe, just maybe, they will decide we are not worth the trouble." The plan was simple but dangerous. A single human would fly to the alien ship and deliver a message, not a message of peace, a message of warning. Being a volunteer was not hard. Commander Daniel Price stepped forward the moment he heard about the mission. He was 35 years old, tall and thin, with brown hair and calm eyes. He had been a pilot for 15 years. He had flown every type of aircraft and spacecraft that humans had built. "We'll do it," Daniel said. "I am not afraid of them." Look at him carefully. "You understand that you might not come back. They might kill you the moment you step on their ship." Daniel smiled. "Then at least I will die doing something important, better than waiting here for them to attack." Days later, Daniel climbed into a small shuttle at Cape. Thousands of people had gathered to watch. They knew this might be the most important moment in human history. Cameras broadcast the launch to every corner of the planet. And looked at the crowd through the window of his shuttle. He saw children waving flags. He saw old people crying. He saw soldiers saluting. He raised his hand and waved back. "This is Commander Daniel Price," he said into his radio. "I'm ready for launch." "Good luck, Commander," Harper's voice came through. "The whole world is with you." Shuttle engines roared to life. Fire and smoke filled the launch pad. Then the small craft rose into the sky, climbing higher and higher until it was just a small dot of light against the blue sky. Alien ship was waiting in orbit. As Daniel approached, he could see how truly massive it was. His shuttle was like an ant next to an elephant. The dark metal surface of the ship had no windows, no lights, nothing that looked welcoming. A beam of light shot out from the ship and grabbed his shuttle. Daniel felt his craft being pulled forward. He was being brought inside. The shuttle landed in a huge hangar. Daniel looked around and saw alien fires lined up in rows. Each one was sleek and deadly looking. There were hundreds of them. His heart beat faster, but he kept his face calm. The door opened and 4 alien soldiers walked in. They were tall, about 8 feet, with the same skin and 6 arms as the commander in the video message. They carried weapons that looked like long rifles with glowing tips. Even one of them said, "Come with us." I followed them through long corridors. The walls were made of the same dark metal as the outside of the ship. There were no decorations, no colors, nothing beautiful. Everything was cold and practical. Finally, they reached a large room. At the center sat the High Commander on a chair that looked like a throne. He was bigger than the soldiers, with darker skin and gold markings on his forehead. Said, his voice deep and slow, "The humans send one small creature to talk to me. Have you come to surrender?" Daniel stood straight and looked directly at the alien commander. "No, I have come to warn you." The strange sound, it might have been a laugh. "Warn me? You are a very funny little human. What could you possibly warn me about?" He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small date chip. The soldiers raised their weapons, but waved them down. "This chip contains our history," Daniel said. "All of it. Every war we have ever fought, every weapon we have ever built, every terrible thing we have done to each other over thousands of years." He walked forward and placed the chip on a table in front of him. "Our empire has conquered 37 worlds," Daniel continued. "That is impressive. But tell me, High Commander, how many of those species fought back? How many of them refused to surrender? How many of them made you pay for every inch of their plan?" Black eyes studied Daniel carefully. "None. They all surrendered when they understood our power." "It's because they were smart," Daniel said. "They saw a bigger enemy and they gave up, but humans are not smart like that. We are smart. We are stupid. We fight even when we know we cannot win." I pointed at the date chip. "Look at our history. We have fought 2 world wars that killed hundreds of millions of our own people. We created weapons that could destroy our entire planet. We have been killing each other since the beginning of our existence, and we are still here." Got the chip and inserted it into a device on his throne. Images started playing on screens around the room. Wars, explosions, cities burning, soldiers dying. The entire bloody history of humanity played out in front of the alien commander. "See," Daniel said, "we are not like those other worlds you conquered. We do not surrender. We do not give up. If you attack Earth, you will not find easy victory. You will find a war that will never end." "You cannot defeat us," said, but his voice was less confident now. "Not," Daniel agreed. "But we can hurt you. We can make you bleed. We will destroy our own cities before we let you take them. We will poison our own water before we let you drink it. Every human, from the youngest baby to the oldest grandmother, will fight you. Not because we think we can win, but because we would rather die fighting than live as slaves." The room was silent. Stared at the screen showing Earth's violent history. His soldiers looked at each other nervously. "We've conquered 37 peaceful worlds," Daniel said. "But you have never faced species like us. We are not peaceful. We are survivors. We came from nothing and built a civilization through blood and fire, and we will burn the entire galaxy before we let anyone take it from us." Daniel turned and started walking toward the door. Then he stopped and looked back at the alien commander. "You have 4 days left on your deadline. Use them wisely. Think about what I have told you. Think about how much this war will cost you, and then ask yourself one question." "What question?" asked. "Is Earth really worth it?" And he walked out of the room. The soldiers did not stop him. He returned to his shuttle and flew back to Earth. When he landed, Harper was waiting for him. "What did they say?" "Nothing," Daniel answered. "But I saw something in his eyes. I saw doubt. For the first time in his conquering career, that alien commander is not sure if he will win." "Then we have a chance. A small chance, but a chance." They both knew the truth. They would not leave. Their pride would not let them back down from a small planet like Earth. War was coming. Humanity had to be ready. The 7th day came with fire and death. Commander had not listened to the warning. His pride was too strong. No species had ever told the Empire no. Earth would not be the first. So when the deadline passed and humanity did not surrender, he gave the order to attack. 7 warships came out of hyperspace around Earth. They appeared all at once, surrounding the planet like a cage. Each ship was smaller than its flagship, but still bigger than anything humans had ever built. Together, they blocked out the stars. Admiral Harper watched them appear on his screens. His heart was beating fast, but his voice was steady when he spoke. "This is Admiral Harper to all Earth forces. The enemy is here. You know what to do. Remember what we are fighting for. Remember your families. Remember your homes. Today, we show the galaxy what humanity is made of." Lisa Monroe was in command of the orbital defense grid. She sat in a control room deep underground, surrounded by hundreds of screens and officers. Her fingers moved across her keyboard as she activated the 200 armed satellites orbiting Earth. "Station, this is General Monroe. Fire at will." First wave of human missiles launched in space. 200 nuclear warheads flew toward the alien fleet. The ships activated their shields, blue energy fields that wrapped around them like gold. Most of the missiles exploded harmlessly against these shields, but some got through. 3 alien ships were hit and damaged. One of them exploded in a ball of fire. "There's blood," Lee said with a grim smile. "They can be hurt." They struck back hard. Green beams of energy shot from their ships, cutting through the defense satellites like a hot knife through butter. In minutes, half of the orbital grid was destroyed. Lisa watched her screen turn red with warning. Back the remaining satellites, she ordered. Use them for defense only. The ground, the alien landing ships started coming down. They fell from the sky like giant metal seeds, crashing into fields and cities around the world. Each ship carried 500 soldiers, fully armed and ready to fight. Christopher Grant was waiting for them in North America. He commanded the Continental Defense Force, a mix of soldiers from the United States, Canada, and Mexico. They had set up positions in the mountains, the forests, and the cities. They were ready. Hold your fire until you see them, Christopher told his soldiers through the radio. Let them come close, then hit them with everything. First troops marched out of their landing ships near Denver. They were confident, walking in perfect lines, their weapons held high. They expected the humans to run away in fear. They were wrong. Forgave the signal. 1,000 missiles launched from hidden positions. Artillery shells rained down from the mountain. Soldiers opened fire with everything they had. The first wave of soldiers was destroyed in a second. But more came, many more. Aliens learned quickly. They stopped marching in lines and started spreading out. They used their superior technology to locate human positions and destroy them. Their weapons could cut through tanks like paper. Their armor could stop most human bullets. Humans were clever. They dug tunnels and hid underground. They attacked at night when the aliens could not see well. They used bombs hidden in roads and buildings. They fought dirty because they had no other choice. Asia, Commander Amy was leading the defense of the eastern countries. She was young, only 32, but she was brilliant. She had a plan that no one else had thought of. Aliens use electronics for everything, she explained to her team. Their weapons, their armor, their communication, all electronic, so we use electromagnetic pulses. Gathered every EMP weapon that humans had ever built. These devices could destroy electronics with a burst of energy. They were not strong enough to hurt the alien ship in space, but they could damage the soldiers on the ground. We waited until a large group of soldiers entered Shanghai. Then she activated the EMP devices hidden throughout the city. A wave of invisible energy swept through the streets. The alien weapons stopped working. Their armor powered down. Their communication went silent. Attack now, Amy should. As if human soldiers charged out of the buildings. The confused and without their technology fought back with their strength and their numbers, but they were not prepared for close combat. Humans used knives, axes, and their bare hands. The battle was brutal and bloody. Many humans died, but when it was over, 5,000 soldiers lay dead in the streets of Shanghai. Europe, Captain Brandon Kelly had a different mission. He led a small team of Special Forces soldiers. Their job was to capture alien technology and learn its secrets. When a cruiser crashed in the mountains of Switzerland, Brandon saw his chance. He took his team of 12 soldiers into the wreckage. They moved quietly through the broken ship, avoiding the surviving alien crew member. Inside the ship, they found what they were looking for. The navigation room contained computers that held maps of the entire empire. Brandon downloaded everything onto a human device. Have it, he whispered into his radio. Data secure. Yet out of there came the reply from headquarters. As they were leaving, they ran into a group of alien soldiers. A firefight broke out in the narrow quarters. 3 of Brandon's soldiers were killed. 2 more were injured, but they made it out. Data they captured would prove to be one of the most important prizes of the war. It showed where there was. It showed how their shields worked. It showed weaknesses that humans could exploit. In his bunker, Admiral Harper received reports from around the world. The news was mixed. Humanity was fighting hard. They were causing more damage than they had expected, but they were also dying by the millions. We cannot keep this up forever, Lisa Monroe said during a briefing. Our weapons are running out. Our soldiers are tired. The aliens just keep coming. No said, but every day we hold them off, we learn more about them. We find new weaknesses. We develop new weapons. Time is on our side. Lisa asked, they have reinforcements coming, more ships, more soldiers. What do we have? Look at the map on his screen. Red marks showed where alien forces controlled territory. Blue marks showed where humans still held. There was more red than blue, but the blue marks were not giving up. If something they do not understand, said, we have hope. We have the belief that we can win. As long as one human is still fighting, we have not lost. And the sky was filled with fire and smoke. Ships battled in orbit. Soldiers fought in the streets. The war for Earth had begun. Weeks passed. They had expected to conquer the planet in days. Instead, they were locked in the bloodiest war they had ever fought. They had lost 12 warships and over 50,000 soldiers. They had not captured a single major city. The first time in the history of the Empire, they were facing an enemy that would not quit. Somewhere in a secret laboratory, a scientist named Shaw was working on something that would change everything. A weapon that could end the war, if only she could finish it in time. Months of war had changed Earth forever. Cities that had stood for centuries were now piles of rubble. Rivers ran black with ash. The sky was dark with smoke from burning forests and buildings. But humanity was still fighting. Beneath the Swiss Alps in a laboratory that no one knew existed, Dr. Shaw was working on the weapon that could save them all. She had not seen the sun in 90 days. She had not talked to her family in weeks. She had barely slept, but she was close, so close. She was 45 years old. She had spent her whole life studying energy and electronics. Before the war, she worked on power systems for spacecraft. Now she was trying to find a way to defeat an alien empire. Key was in the data that Captain Brandon Kelly had captured from the crashed cruiser, had studied it for weeks. She had looked at every detail of how the alien technology worked, and she had found something important. Shields operate on a specific frequency, she explained to her team. A very precise frequency. If we can create an electromagnetic pulse that matches that exact frequency, we can disable their shields completely. Persistent, a young man named looked at her with tired eyes. That sounds simple. Why has no one done it before? We did not know the frequency until now, said. The data from the crashed ship gave us that information. Without it, we would be guessing forever. Problem was building a device powerful enough. The aliens had shields on their soldiers, their fighters, and their warships. To disable all of them at once, they would need an enormous amount of power. There's one device that might work, said. The Mars Mining Pulse Generator. It was designed to break apart asteroids for mining. It is the most powerful EMP device humans have ever built. But it is on Mars, pointed out. Well, for the first time in months. No, it was brought back to Earth last year for repairs. It is sitting in a warehouse in Antarctica right now. Admiral Harper received the news with a mixture of hope and worry. Hope because this might be the weapon they needed. Worry because getting it to work would not be easy. How do we deliver this pulse? He asked during a video meeting with. Have to get close to the alien flagship, explained. The pulse generator can only reach about 50 miles. We need to mount it on a spacecraft and fly directly at the main ship. At a suicide, General Liam Moreau said. Yes, agreed. Whoever pilots that ship will probably not survive, but if they can get close enough and activate the pulse, every ship within range will lose their shields. Their weapons will stop working. Their systems will fail. For a few hours, they will be helpless. The room was silent. Everyone understood what this meant. Someone would have to die to save Earth. And Commander Peter spoke up. He had been listening from the back of the room. He was 29 years old, with short black hair and green eyes. He had been fighting in space since the first day of the war. He had destroyed more alien fighters than any other pilot. Will do it, said. I will fly the mission. Looked at him. You understand what you are volunteering for. I have been fighting for 3 months. I have watched my friends die. I have seen cities burn. If I can end the war by giving my life, then that is a good trade. There was no argument. No one tried to stop him. They all knew that was right. This mission was too important to trust to anyone but the best. The next 2 weeks, engineers worked around the clock to prepare the spacecraft. They called it the Defiant. It was a small ship, fast and light, with the pulse generator attached to its belly. Every system was checked and double-checked. There was no room for mistakes. To see the day before the mission, she found him in the hangar, sitting on a crate and looking at the Defiant. Are you scared? She asked. About it? Yes, but not of dying. I'm scared of failing. I'm scared that I will get close to the enemy and the device will not work. I'm scared that my death will mean nothing. Down next to him. It will work. I have tested it 100 times. The math is perfect. That does not always work in war, he said with a small smile. But hope does, and right now you are the hope of the entire human race. Next morning, climbed into the Defiant. The hangar was full of people who had come to see him off. Soldiers saluted. Scientists waved. Ordinary workers clapped their hands. Everyone knew that this young pilot was about to do something that would be remembered forever. Admiral Harper spoke to him through the radio. I wish I could tell you that everything will be fine. I wish I could promise that you will come back, but I cannot. All I can say is that the entire plan is watching. Whoever happens today, you will be a hero. Closed his eyes for a moment. He thought about his parents back in Ohio. He thought about his sister who was fighting with the Army Nexus. He thought about all the people who had already died in this war, and all the people who would die if he failed. I'm ready, he said. Engines of the Defiant roared to life. The small ship rose from the hangar and shot into the sky. Below, millions of people watched it climb higher and higher till it was just a tiny point of light against the darkness of space. The fleet was waiting in orbit. 47 ships surrounded Earth like a wall of steel. The flagship sat in the center, the biggest and most powerful of them all. That was where it had to go. Lieutenant Commander Peters to all human forces, he transmitted. I am beginning my approach. Remember what we are fighting for. Not just our survival, but our right to exist. Our right to be free. Our right to reach the stars on our own terms. Whatever happens today, know that humanity will never kneel. We will never surrender. We will fight until the last human draws their last breath. Pushed the engines to full power. The Defiant shot forward like a bullet. Saw him coming? Fires launched from their ships to stop him. Plasma cannons fired. Green beams of death filled the space around him, but was the best pilot humanity had ever produced. He dodged and weaved through the enemy fire. He destroyed 3 fires that got too close. He flew straight into the heart of the alien fleet. Almost there, he said to himself, just a little closer. Plasma beam hit the left wing of his ship. Warning lights flashed. The ship started spinning, but held on. He wanted the nose of the Defiant at the alien flagship and kept going. Now, he said, press the button that activated the pulse generator. A wave of electromagnetic energy exploded from his ship. It was invisible but powerful. It spread outward in all directions, passing harmlessly through human ships but hitting the valves like a hammer. Every alien ship within range went dark. Their shields flickered and died. Their weapons stopped firing. Their engines cut off. For the first time since the war began, the mighty fleet was helpless. The pulse also hit the Defiant. Ship lost all power. The lights went out. The engines died. The small craft began to drift helplessly in space, spinning slowly away from the battlefield. Looked out the window at the dark alien ships. He smiled. I did it, he whispered. Now finish them. Earth Admiral Harper saw what had happened. He saw the alien ship go dark. He saw his chance. Forces, he shouted. Attack, attack now. This is our moment. Take them down. And humanity struck back. Once the alien shields went down, everything changed. Well, Harper gave the order, and every weapon that humanity had left fired at once. Nuclear missiles launched from submarines in the ocean. Rockets flew from hidden bases in the mountain. The few remaining defense satellites sent their last warheads into space. Everything humanity had was thrown at the helpless alien fleet. Could not believe what was happening. For 3 months, their shields had protected them from human weapons. They had felt safe and powerful. Now those shields were gone and they were dying. First warship exploded when 3 nuclear missiles hit it at the same time. The second was cut in half by a plasma beam from a captured alien weapon. The third, fourth, and fifth followed quickly. Fire and light filled the space around Earth as the mighty fleet was torn apart. Lisa Monroe commanded the attack from her underground bunker. Her eyes were fixed on the screens, watching the red marks that represented any ships disappear one by one. Not let any of them escape, she ordered. Do not give them time to repair their systems. Hit them while they are blind. Fire pilots flew into battle with nothing but courage and old weapons. They were outmatched in every way, but now, with the alien technology disabled, they had a chance. Pilot after pilot sacrificed themselves, crashing their ships into any vessels when their weapons ran out. In orbit, the alien flagship drifted helplessly. High Commander stood in his command chamber, surrounded by darkness and silence. His screens were dead. His weapons were offline. His communications were cut. He could only watch through the window as his fleet was destroyed. Possible, he whispered. This cannot be happening. But it was happening. The humans were winning. Lisa Monroe decided to lead the final assault herself. She boarded a shuttle with a team of 50 Marines and flew toward the flagship. The alien ship was dark and quiet as they approached. No weapons fired to stop them. No fires came to defend it. In the hangar bay, Lisa ordered the pilot. We are going inside. The shuttle flew through a damaged section of the hull and landed in a dark corridor. Lisa and her Marines stepped out into the alien ship, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. They could hear sounds in the distance. Alien voices, running feet. The enemy was not completely helpless. Some of them still wanted to fight. Together, Lisa said, our target is the command chamber. We take the commander, we end this war. Moved through the ship, fighting their way past groups of alien soldiers. Without their powered armor and energy weapons, they were still dangerous. They were bigger and stronger than humans. But the Marines had trained for this kind of combat. They used grenades and close-range weapons. They fought in teams, covering each other. Team Marines died on the way to the command chamber. 17 brave men and women who gave their lives to end the war. Lisa made sure to remember every name. When they reached the center of the ship, the doors to the command chamber were closed, but the locks had no power. 2 Marines placed explosives and blew the doors open. Lisa walked into the room with her weapon raised. She found High Commander standing alone in the middle of the chamber. The bodies of his guards lay around him. He had killed them himself when they suggested surrender. Said slowly, "The little humans have come." Lisa looked at the alien commander. He was 8 feet tall and covered in armor. His 6 arms hung at his sides. His black eyes showed no fear, only something that might have been respect. "We're warned," Lisa said. "You could have left. You chose to stay and fight." "Yes, we did not believe. We thought you were like all the others, weak, afraid, ready to break." "And now?" Alien commander looked around his ruined ship. He looked at the human soldiers pointing weapons at him. He looked at the old one who had led them here. "I understand," he said. "You are not like the others. You are something new, something dangerous." So walk close to him. "The war is over. Your fleet is destroyed. Your soldiers are dead or captured. You can surrender and live or you can fight and die. The choice is yours." A long moment was silent. Then he reached up and removed the gold symbol from his forehead. It was the sign of his command. He placed it on the floor in front of Lisa. "Empire surrenders to the humans of Earth," he said. "May the gods help anyone who ever tries to conquer your world again." News spread across Earth in minutes. People ran into the streets crying and laughing and hugging each other. The war was over. Humanity had won. The following days, the remaining alien ships were captured or destroyed. Soldiers who surrendered were taken prisoner. Those who kept fighting were killed. By the end of the week, there was not a single active alien combatant left on Earth or in orbit. Commander Pierce was found drifting in his powerless ship 3 days after the battle. A rescue team brought him aboard and found him alive but barely breathing. The electromagnetic pulse had knocked out his life support systems. He had survived by rationing the air in his flight suit. He woke up in a hospital bed. Admiral Harper was sitting beside him. "You did it," said with a smile. "You saved us all." Round the room, it was full of flowers and cards and messages from people around the world. He had become the most famous person on Earth. "Did we win?" he asked. "Yes, the war is over. The aliens have surrendered." Closed his eyes, tears rolled down his cheeks. Good, then it was worth it. The months that followed, Earth began to rebuild. The nations that had spent centuries fighting each other decided to stay united. They formed the United Earth Government, the first truly global organization in human history. Technology captured from them was studied and improved. Within 5 years, humans had built their own interstellar ships. Within 10 years, they had established colonies on Mars, the Moon, and 3 planets in other star systems. Shaw received the first Nobel Prize for interstellar defense. Her pulse technology became the foundation of all human shield systems. Captain Brandon Kelly was promoted to general and put in charge of training the new Space Marines. Commander Amy became the admiral of the United Earth Fleet's Asian Division. Admiral Harper served as supreme commander of Earth military for 15 more years. When he finally retired, he gave a speech that was broadcast to every human settlement in the galaxy. Years ago, an alien fleet came to Earth and demanded our surrender. They thought we would give up without a fight. They were wrong. We fought back. We bled. We died. But we never surrendered. And in the end, we won. Paused and looked at the crowd in front of him. Young soldiers, old veterans, children who had been born after the war ended. To be a lesson to anyone who looks at humanity and sees weakness. We are not weak. We are not afraid. We are the children of Earth. We survived ice ages and plagues and world wars. We survived and we will survive whatever comes next. Because that is what we do. We fight. We adapt. We endure. And no matter how dark the night becomes, we never lose hope. Across the galaxy, the story of Earth spread from planet to planet. The 37 worlds that they had conquered heard what had happened. A small blue planet had stood up to the Empire and won. It seemed impossible, but it was true. Well, those worlds began to rebel. They remembered their own histories, their own courage, and they decided to fight for their freedom too. Within a generation, the Empire collapsed, replaced by a federation of free planets. And at the center of this new galactic order stood Earth, the planet that had refused to surrender, the species that had fought back against impossible odds, a warning that echoed through the stars. Not attack humanity. Do not threaten their world. Do not underestimate their will to survive. Because if you do, they will not simply resist. They will strike back, and they will win.